could be anything. Why not be Ernest?
Josh, something terrible happened to me.
What?
I mean, I don't want to start out an Ernest podcast talking about something terrible that happened to me recently, but the people, they need to know.
Sure, and earnestness is not always positive.
Earnestness is not always positive, and that's a really important rule we made up early on in this podcast.
Yes.
I think it earnestly be bad. So, a catfisher named Dr. Ronald messaged me on Twitter, and he is definitely a catfisher because his account started 2 days ago, and he follows a bunch of women. And
Got it.
This is just very clearly. And he messaged me, and I was like, here we go. Because Josh, I love engaging a catfisher or like a scammer. I love it.
I mean, is he a women's doctor? Just looking for new clientele?
I mean, he might be, but he sent me a message, and I was like, he was like, do you mind if we engage in a conversation? And I said, hell yes, doctor. Let's engage in a conversation.
Sure. Not many people ask permission to engage in a conversation in that way anymore.
Absolutely not. And I am super ready. I'm sorry to say, I'm going to have to ruin his little life. I had all these ideas, and so far he's just been like, how are you? And that's a bummer to me.
Yeah.
I wanted him to get into it and be like, buy me $500 of iTunes gift cards, marry me. I was ready.
Yeah.
But maybe give it time. All relationships, whether it's romantic, friendship, or a catfish on Twitter, need time to grow.
I was going to say that, it's not like what they talk about, how catfishing is going to go when you're growing up, and like they romanticize the whole thing.
It's not like catfishing in the movies.
No, it's really not. It's really not, because it's not like... Yeah, it's much harder. It's about compromise. It's about learning to build a relationship of trust with someone when you know that the two of you are inherently different people, and maybe even different people than you say that you are.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, we've all had great brief catfish encounters,
But is this someone you want to catfish with for life?
I'll never forget. I had this incredible, I guess I would call it a short-term summer fling catfish, where he was sending me links to things and I wouldn't click, and I would keep messaging back with quotes from the Beethoven movie. And
ooh, will they, won't they?
Will they, won't they? And it was really fun and romantic, but I'm looking for more. And I'm just hoping Dr. Ronaldo or Dr. Ronald, I think it's Dr. Ronald, is the one for me.
Welcome to Being Earnest, a very sincere podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Paula.
And we're here to talk about the earnest topics of the day.
Yeah.
Paula, what's our topic this week?
My birthday.
That is not what we planned.
Just kidding. Our topic is passwords.
Passwords. But also, happy early birthday.
Thank you. One day early when this comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now everyone knows. Is your birthday party your passwords? Is that how you set up your... What other elements of a security question would we need to know, Paula, besides your birthday and probably where you were born?
I think you would also need to figure out who did it in the murder mystery party I had last year.
Sure.
Hey, Josh, how do you decide a password?
I use 1Password, which is a password manager. So I purposely make it so that I don't know what it is. In most cases, I have it auto-generate a secure password because I'm a big fucking nerd. But also, I don't know. I would rather it just be totally like you know how in spy movies, if they're like, where's the location of whatever? And they're like, I actually don't know. It's like if I were to ever be tortured for to be able to get into, my Pinterest account or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I want plausible deniability for what my passwords are.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want them to be able to edit your, what do people use Pinterest for? Wooden signs and wedding flower boards.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's good. That's smart.
Thank you. But I do have like 2 main master passwords that I smush together or change based off of the situation. And if people got access to the variations of those, I'd be absolutely fucked.
Yes, that makes sense.
Because I'm a human being who can only remember 2 actual passwords.
2 words.
Yeah. I do actually, this is not going to help, but one of the passwords I was given in computer lab in 7th grade, we were all given randomly generated passwords of like strings of actual words and numbers together. That is one of my core passwords.
You're still using Blue Dog 89?
Paula, I thought we talked about not talking about this. Now I have to change all my passwords, Paula. What about you? How do you do passwords?
I live my passwords like I live my life, which is to say pure, total fucking chaos.
Sure.
I use one password for everything.
Oh my God.
But sometimes I shake up the... Don't try to correct me. I'm not going to change.
When you say I use one password, you are not using the password manager one password, the one that I'm using. You were saying you use a single password for everything.
I use the same damn password for everything.
I'm having a panic attack.
Hey, Josh, you just absolutely need to relax because I'm not changing. I'm not learning more. But I shake up the punctuation that goes with it.
Sure. Just to, entice the catfishers a little bit more.
Dr. Ronald. And then inevitably, I will try to log into a site. I will forget my password. I will try every possible variation. It will keep saying it is none of those variations. You need to reset your password, bitch. And I don't think it should be calling me the B word.
Sure.
I don't think Rue La La should be calling me the B word. So then I'll hit reset my password, even though I know that I've entered my password. Then I will click reset my password, and then we'll have to go through that whole song and dance, where it sends me a code, and then I have to check my email, and then I have to put the code in, and then it will say, put in your new password. So I will put in a password, and it will go,
was your old password?
Your password can't be your old password. Can you believe Rue La La, the shopping website, comes up, it says, you dumb hoe. It can't be your old password. I don't think it should be calling me that. I'm a paying customer.
Sure. Well, when you can get in, you're a paying customer.
There are full-on sites that I have been like, I don't care enough. And then I just never go back.
They've been lost to time.
Some variation.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's terrifying to me, but I'm also not judging.
No, you're judging.
Well, I'm worried about your online health, Paula. I'm worried about all your information being stolen.
I don't know if you've heard, but there's a pandemic, so we should be worried more about people's physical health.
Wow, somehow I'm the asshole now. I can't believe I'm the asshole now, but
Hey, Josh, read a book.
But don't go to a store to buy a book. You idiot.
Read a book that's been written in the past week called The Newspaper.
It's dying, have you heard?
Read a book online. It's called The New York Times. Figure it out.
There's a paywall. You know someone who has a subscription. Paula, do you ever get just kind of sad a little bit when...
Yes, all the time.
Well, I was going to finish the sentence.
Oh, okay.
When you have to set security questions and like half of them don't apply to you, where you're like, they're like, what's your spouse's maiden name? And you're like, oh, there's a lot of baggage in that question.
You really have to unpack this. Yes, or some of it is like, it'll be like, who is your best friend in the whole world? And then I have to enter in the whole thing, which is like, I think best friend's actually a tier, and I have a few people that I think really hit that for me.
Yeah.
Do you ever do the thing where it asks your favorite something and then you put it in and then later you need the answer and you're like, what was my favorite at the time?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's
like, was I trying to show off or did I mean it?
Yeah, well, it's a time capsule in that moment of like how you felt. Also, there are things that are just immutable facts, like the city in which you were born.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Los Angeles, California, with a view of the Hollywood sign, baby.
Those babies.
I always feel weird doing the ones that are facts that you could look up in a public registry. You know what I mean? Like you could find someone's birth, like choosing the who is your best friend growing up question is more personal, and you'd have to know for the person to do it. You couldn't look that up like in birth records, but at the same time, like, you have different best friends at different points in growing up, and it's like, well, which one? Did I put the full name? Did I just put the first name? What did I do?
Did I use their nickname? Yep.
I don't want. Why is Ameriprise trying to drag me like this? I'm just trying to take a credit freeze off of my Equifax report.
Josh, first off, I don't know what any of those words mean. Second off, can I tell you something that's kind of embarrassing about me?
Please.
So as I mentioned, or as I said, I was born in the aforementioned Anchorage, Alaska.
Sure.
And I know myself and I know my life. And I know that me being a child in Alaska is the only interesting thing about me.
That's not true, but
thank you so much. But I know it is by far the most interesting thing about me. And over time, I have learned to worm it into conversation.
Sure.
With people to be like, here, oh, you think I'm boring? I've walked on a glacier in the state I was born. You know, like, I know that I know how to give the people what they want. Look
I've walked on a glacier in the state I was born sounds like a John Denver song.
He's a faker. So
wow.
Look, you're not gonna go to a Liza Minnelli concert and not have her sing Cabaret. Okay?
Sure.
You're not gonna go see Britney Spears and have her walk away without singing Oops, I Did It Again. You know, like sometimes the greatest hits, that's why people are in.
Sure.
They're open to hearing the new stuff, but they're here for the greatest. They're here for the thing that you're most known for. And for me, it is the fact that on my passport, it says born in Alaska.
Sure.
And so I think that is so ingrained in me that whenever I have the chance to drop it in a like password, like security question, I'm always like, yeah, I guess I'll slip it in.
Yeah, so the bot can know how interesting you are.
Hey, bot, look, I may seem like a boring, average girl in Chicago, Illinois, but there's an interesting fact about me.
That's really funny. I guess I get a little bit of that rush because my dad was not born in the US. I'm not going to say where because it's a security question.
Wait, tell me.
He was born in
What? Hey, Josh, if your dad was not born in the US, I'm sorry to say he can't be president.
No, I know. So this was a thing.
Sucks. Your dad would make a good president.
I love my dad very, very much. I don't think he would like being president.
Well, I'm sorry to say that. Then tell me why I have been working so hard canvassing for him.
Yeah, sure. But that was a thing that, like, when I was, when you're in like third grade and you learn the rules of like, you have to be over 35, you have to be born in the US and things like that. And I think this was also, as this was happening, maybe Schwarzenegger they were like, well, maybe they could bend the rules for him because he was the governor at that point. And there was a talk about him running for president, all these kinds of things. And I had this realization that my dad couldn't be president. Also, like, I don't know why I wasn't like, well, my mom can be president.
Women can't be president. Did they not tell you that part? You have to be over 35. You have to be born in the US. Can't be a woman.
Got it. But I was like, there was a part of me that was very sad for about a week that my dad couldn't be president.
Yeah.
He could never be president.
I think that's the nice thing about like being a little kid. You know what? And still me to this day is like, you still kind of have that of like, I could do anything. It's almost like too much of the American dream.
Yeah. You've OD'd on the American dream.
Do you get like a little calm when you hear someone is older than you, even in a thing you would never want to do? Like if I hear a race car driver is 36, I go, I guess I have plenty of time to become a race car driver.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know how to drive.
Versus like, all the soccer magazines in Europe are like the 20 under 20. And I'm like, nope, I cannot.
Yeah. I'm like, I guess my window is past to be a pro soccer player for Barcelona.
Yeah. Someone could have told me.
That sucks.
But like, yeah, this person founded this amazing charity at 35. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Then I guess I'll do the same.
I guess I'll become a mechanical engineer or whatever you call it.
And they can be 1 year older than me. They can be 1 year older than me. And I'll be like, oh, so we were in the same place a year ago.
They
No
didn't know
problem.
anything about rockets.
Wow, 1 year to become an astronaut? Sign me up, I guess.
1 year to become an astronaut does sound like a really good reality show.
Look, I mean, I guess the older I get, the younger adults seem. Like
Sure.
now that I have a birthday coming up.
Sure. It's
I
brave of you to admit that.
Thank you so much. I'm aging down. I'm 21. I was 22 last year. That's a joke. I hear like 35 to be a president. And when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, that's president age. And then now I'm like, oh my God, a 35-year-old president? Too young.
Yeah, very much too young. Not
Sorry.
enough life experience.
No. 35 is still like, okay, so there's a good chance you're still on your parents' cell phone.
Yep.
You probably still have roommates of some sort. You might.
Yeah, depending on if you're in a big city or not, you probably have.
You hear 35, it's like, okay, I am not 35 and I have no problem like going in a pile of dirty clothes and being like, this doesn't have a lot of wrinkles, clean.
Yeah, also
And
like
if you're going into dirty clothes to wear clothes, you shouldn't be president. And I think 35 you still are.
Yeah, I think at 35 in most cities, you're like, well, I guess I could finally get an apartment with an in-unit washer and dryer.
Yeah. Yeah. But to be president? No.
No.
You have to be, do you know what the Constitution should say?
What?
It should say parent age.
Well,
Like, I don't think we need like a 95-year-old president.
sure.
My parents are not 95. But I mean, like, I want someone who I can be like, they could theoretically have me as a kid.
But that means that
Don't think about it too hard.
but then it keeps
Don't
going
think about it too
backwards.
No, don't think about it too hard. I'll switch. I'll get to a certain age and I'll be like, now I want them to be my kid.
Got it. Or a niece or a nephew.
Yes. Well, I mean, maybe presidents are on the mood because Josh, I FaceTimed with Elizabeth Warren this week.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Is that weird to talk about on the podcast?
No, I think it's totally fine.
Okay.
Presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren.
I'll tell the little story. So the very, very famous podcast, Love It or Leave It, with John Lovett, who's one of the hosts of Pod Save America.
From Crooked Media.
Crooked Media. Crooked Media tweeted and they were like, hey, does anybody have this was like a lot for this was more of a coherent sentence, but they were like, does anybody have free time between, it was like 11:30 and noon tomorrow that they want to hop on and play a game? And a lot of times on Love It or Leave It, they'll have like a listener game. And the game will be like, they've done spelling bees, they've done 30 seconds to rant about something stupid. They're just fun little games.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And also maybe I'll try to sneak in a little Being Earnest reference.
Sure.
So I sent them a message and I was like, yeah, I'm available. And they replied right back and they were like, perfect. Get on the Zoom at this time. We will let you in. You will be in the waiting room. We'll let you in when it is your turn. And I was like, cool. Then I said, so do I have to prepare anything? Because now is the part where I should tell you that I do not read the news.
Sure.
I used to read the news, but now I cannot read the news. I can read a tweet of the headline and I can't read into it. Too much. They were like, no, don't, it's going to be a surprise. So get on the podcast, get on the Zoom, and John Lovett lets me in.
Sure.
Me and John. It is not like it is me and him. And then I can see there's a few other people on the call. And I was like, those are the producers. And he asked me, the game was essentially like, he was going to say 3 news stories. 1 was real, 2 were fake.
Got it.
And they were hard. Very hard. And he said,
sounds like they're stealing from Wait, Don't Tell Me.
It was a Wait, Don't Tell Me type vibe. I also will say in retrospect, listening to it, I think when I get nervous, I have a full Midwestern accent that comes out.
Interesting.
Full on. I don't think I have that much of a Midwestern accent. And then on this podcast, I was like, don't you know, let's do it. Like, wrong with me? So then he asked me the question. He goes, okay, this is going to be really hard. So let's bring in an expert to help you. And Josh, my heart dropped because I was like, this is going to be someone from the news. And I'm going to have to be like, oh my, it's the, holy cow.
Sure. I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Or I was going to be like, oh no, it's going to be someone who like they referenced once. And I'll be like, oh, you were for Mama press room. Like I was like, oh, fuck. And my heart dropped. And then I hear, hi, Paula. And it was Elizabeth Warren. And I was so overwhelmed. And she went into full teacher mode. She went into full like, okay, let's think about it. It's probably not this because of this, because of that, because of that. And then the second question, I just zoned out. I didn't listen to a word of the second question. I didn't listen to a word of it. Two reasons. Number one, numbers. In one ear, out the other. And then the second was like, I was just staring at like Elizabeth Warren, like on my screen. And then he was like, which one do you think it is? And I said, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren, was like, oh, Paula, which one are you thinking? And I said, Liz, I have to be honest. I was not listening. I was too starstruck. And she was very nice about it, but they did cut out me calling her Liz. They were like, it is Senator Warren. I meet her once. I'm like, so Liz, what are we doing after this?
Yeah. We're having some post-pod drinks, maybe?
Girl, you coming over later?
So, Paula, what's the difference between a key, a pin, and a password at the end of the day?
I don't know. Password has letters?
That actually probably is the answer, but I mean existentially a little bit.
Oh, well, a key's the thing that goes in a door.
Sure.
Passwords, no. Pin is for bank.
Well, but so for a speakeasy, the password is the key.
Oh, let's talk speakeasies.
Have you ever gone to a speakeasy where where you needed to know a password to go in? Or like a intricate series of knocks?
Do I seem like the kind of person that would have gone to a speakeasy where you had to know an intricate series of knocks?
You seem like the kind of person who might have done it once and then felt like it was too much of a pain afterwards, because that's how I feel about it, at least.
It seems emotionally exhausting to me.
Yeah, right?
It seems like the kind of thing. No, the closest thing I could think of is I went to that 3 dots and a dash here.
Yeah, sure.
Where that's the one where it's a tiki bar that's like in a basement and you have to go through an alley. And I think you used to need a password. But not enough to really, not something I actually wanted to be at.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's the real speakeasy experience, is that it's an interesting idea that you don't actually want to be at. Because it's just taking itself so fucking seriously.
Well, because I think the idea of speakeasies are very cool. Like when we're talking about like the 20s, like prohibition, I think that's very interesting. It's very wild. The lengths people would go to get a gosh darn glass of martini.
A glass of martini.
A glass of martini. I love nothing.
Cool, crisp glass of martini.
I love nothing more than when you like go to a bar and they say this used to be a speakeasy, and we used to slam the alcohol. That's really fun. But when they try to redo it, it just doesn't. It's like no one here's dressed like a flapper. There's not a chance the police are going to shut us down. Yeah. What's the fun of this? It's just pretentious.
It's the element of danger is the piece
that's the thing. That they should put like a rocket in the middle of the room or something.
What? The people didn't necessarily die. That's the arrest speech. You're like, yeah, let's put an open. Like we're gonna at some point in the night we're gonna pull the pin on this grenade and see what happens.
Here it is. So you get to go to the speakeasy. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
they never play the good jazz music like they play in the Great Gatsby movies, but it's it's pretty fun. But
the electro swing.
But one drink is poison. Not enough where you're gonna die.
Speakeasy roulette.
Yes, not enough where you're gonna die. This is a really good idea. So it's close your eyes, open your eyes. I'm moving on with the story. It is not enough where you're gonna die. but it is enough where you're going to be sick for 2 days after. Okay?
This is a horrible idea.
No, it's an amazing idea. It is the element of danger. And then also, how about this? If you're the one that gets the poison drink, you get a t-shirt.
That doesn't feel like the medical bills versus the like.
No, you
have to sign a waiver going in.
You have to sign a waiver. It's not hospital sick. It's like the worst hangover of your life sick. Lots of puke.
I don't like that at all.
I think people would love it because then it's like, that's a text the next day. Hey, how you feeling? Beer's not safe. It could go in the beer.
Got it.
It can be in a cocktail.
There's a poison pill. One person per night gets a poison pill.
One person per night gets poisoned. Yeah.
God, I don't like this at all. But also part of me is like, it's that like human nature of I don't like this. I know this is a risk, but also it's not going to be me.
Yeah, but I cannot stress enough how good the bar is.
Sure.
The drinks are very cheap, very fun, very fancy. Everyone's having a good time. Amazing location.
Sure.
Amazing location. Very easy to get to. Free snacks.
So it's hubris is what you're saying. It's just like,
I don't know what that means.
Like, it's like pride. Like, it's so good. Like, it's so good that they have to be like, yeah. And you know what else? We can fucking shoot someone in this bar and they still won't shut us down.
No, it's just a little bit of poison.
Yeah.
It's not even poison. It's just a little bit of like, it's a little bit of like saline solution like that you put in your contacts.
What is it about? What is it about that like more recent history were not cool and it seems stupid to reenact it, but like medieval history, it's fine. So like medieval times is like everyone's
I have
like,
no idea where this is going. I have no idea where you're going with this.
In a medieval time situation, they're like, hail and well met. And you're like, ooh, yay, this is fun and weird.
Yeah.
And like kind of period.
At medieval times.
At medieval times. But you go to a speakeasy and they're like, hey there, stranger. And you're like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Take off those goddamn suspenders.
Yeah. Well, you don't need arm garters, bro. They're like, oh, there's no way to talk to someone, friend. And you're like, oh.
Boom!
Just punch them immediately. It's like,
I'm not even violent.
Yeah, I'm not even violent. But for some reason, like, they're like, well, we find ourselves in a roaring decade. I'm like,
well, I have a lot of questions about this.
Okay. Please.
Number one, Josh, I don't think most speakeasies are 20s themed. I don't think you go to a speakeasy and it's like medieval times for the 20s.
No, I know.
think you go and it's a hipster with like interesting facial hair who's going to charge you $25 for a drink.
Yeah, right. And you're like, can I have a Manhattan? And he's like, well, this is kind of my take on a Manhattan.
Yeah. Or you order a vodka soda and he rolls his eyes. I don't think you're going in and he's being like, whoa, I hope the stock market doesn't crash anytime soon. Beep, 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 Cole Porter. Like, I don't think that's what happens. And if it does, I'm going. Like,
wait, Paula,
to me, that swings me the other way. What?
Paula, this guy knows that the stock market is going to crash? How does he know?
You're defeating the purpose of a speakeasy is not like 1920s cosplay.
But it could be. I guess my point is if it
You're inventing a new thing.
I know, and it would suck, wouldn't it?
No.
It'd be so annoying.
No, because it would take it the other way. So what I hate the most in a restaurant or a bar is it being pretentious. I cannot stand something that's being really pretentious. But on the other side, the thing I love most in a restaurant or bar is a commitment to a theme. Like, I want it to be crazy themed. And you went from it being pretentious, which is what real speakeasies are, and over to theme. And I want to move in. Do you know what place has the best themed restaurants in the world?
Japan.
Did you go to any when you were there?
I did not.
I went to so many, and there are so many that I didn't go to that I really want to go back. The best one I went to was the robot restaurant. where full on giant robots perform a stage production, and it is chaos. I can't even describe it, but if you are at a computer, I need you to go online and search robot restaurant. It is like neon, it's lights. I saw the Christmas one, and it is the storyline. They for some reason tried to give it a storyline, and it's a little girl is selling apples, and Santa Claus in a different costume buys one. And that's an hour and a half show. At one point, like somebody comes, a beautiful woman in a little outfit comes riding sitting in a robot's lap. Like every moment of it is chaos. And then the other one I went to is called Monster Restaurant. And it was like people, you sat in like different areas of like different kinds of like fun monsters.
And then you got to kiss them.
Then you got to kiss them on the lips. The one I really wanted to go to, but we didn't, was the Vampire Restaurant.
It seems like you're just describing Dream Daddy characters.
Oh, God, I love Dream Daddy.
I think that's going to do it for us.
I think that's going to do it for us.
Thank you for tuning in yet again to our little pod. We really appreciate it. If you have the time to write a review...
For my birthday.
Yeah, for Paula's birthday. Even if the review was just, this pod is good, happy birthday, Paula. There, I've written one for you. You have no excuse.
Every one that you do, for every review, Josh will send you a check for $1,000, and that's his birthday present to me.
Because I'm also matching it and sending $1,000 to Paula for every $1,000 I send to you.
If we work together, we work together,
Josh.
We can bankrupt Josh. We can buy a house together. Me and you, listener.
You overestimate how much money I have. I have an earnest moment that I witnessed this week.
Oh, okay.
So I was running because I ran.
Whoa.
Wow. Paula's making a face. But I was running on the street, and I was like, why are there a bunch of cars, and why is there someone in a dinosaur costume over there, and they're all honking? And what I realized was I was running by a birthday parade.
Aww.
So people were in cars, like going slowly, doing a parade, honking their horns with signs, and there was a grand marshal of the parade who was a person in one of those like full body T-Rex suits.
Oh,
it was actually really, really, really sweet. It made me so happy and forget that I was running at the time.
That's what I always want to do when I'm running.
Forget that you're running.
I don't run.
That's the key. Yeah. As always, we want to thank Ryan Cruz for the beautiful logo. She's at RB Cruiser on Instagram. And thank you to Dylan Dutch for the theme song. He is at Dylan Dutch on Twitter.
Our social media, we are across all of it on everything but LinkedIn. We are at Being Earnest Pod. And if you have any suggestions, ideas, topics, earnest moments of the week, whatever, send them to us at beingearnestpod@gmail.com, or just send it to us on Twitter or Instagram, or to me or Josh privately. Whatever you want to do, we'll find it. We are always on our phones.
And until next week, remember that you'll never be as interesting as someone who walked on a glacier in their home state.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.